What's going on, guys, and welcome to the Coffee with Sam podcast, bringing you all the missing pieces for your performance. Now, today's podcast is a very interesting guest. He's not involved in the cheerleading world, but I thought he would be great to bring on because he has a great take on mindfulness and also meditation. So I hope you're all staying safe out there and doing as the government are advising. Let's get into today's podcast. Welcome to the show, Dan.
Yeah, man. Pleasure to be here. Pleasure to be locked in and live over Zoom instead of face to face.
How you been getting on with this tough time?
I've got to be grateful for where I'm at, to be honest, because I live in a beautiful place,
Oh, mate, I've seen. If you haven't seen his view, get on his Instagram and check out the view he has from his house, man. Woo.
Yeah, it's it's challenging, but there's a woods right near my house, and it's not like I'm surrounded by, I'm not in a flat or anything, and those are the kinds of people that I feel sorry for in this terrible time, because I'm even feeling the effects of not cabin fever. I mean, I wouldn't go as far as saying I'm feeling locked up and everything, but that freedom has been taken away to a degree.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I'm just grateful that I enjoy where I live. I'm enjoying what I'm doing. And I'm sort of grateful for the downtime.
That's what a lot of people are saying. You speak to a lot of people, and when they forget financially, when they actually forget about that it's something that's killing people and could possibly affect you like that, when they forget about that, there's so many more positives if you haven't been affected by it, like as in losing a loved one, and you forget financially. There's so many more positives around it. I just come off a phone call with my brother, a 2-hour phone call. I don't think I've spoke to him on the phone or even face to face for 2 hours for the last year or so.
Yeah.
And it's forcing conversation that you wouldn't normally have. So there is a lot of positives with it.
Yeah. And I mean, checking up on those family members that maybe you wouldn't normally do so often, like you're saying, I'm probably speaking to my mum. I work with my dad, so obviously I speak to him quite a lot, but speaking to my mum more than I would generally, do you know what I mean? Which can only be a good thing.
Oh, yeah, yeah. That's the only thing I'm missing is my mum. Having to stay away from my mum is probably the worst part about this. Like I say, financially, forget about it. It's there, but you can't let it affect you, because otherwise you'd be what we're going to talk about in the podcast. Your mind, you just lose your mind.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, it's so easy to, and I'm not going to say I haven't done it, is to fall into that why me? You know what I mean? Like, we're all selfish to a degree. The human mind, the human in general is selfish. We have to try not to be selfish. We try and think of others. But it's having that why me mentality and reminding yourself straight away, shit, it's not just why me, it's everybody. Yeah. And once you start thinking like that and realise that, not only are people in a worse situation than you are, but everybody's in the same boat. Yeah. Don't worry about your finances, because, mate, believe me, I've checked my account and I'm like, what am I spending? What's this? What's that? And it does bring that added stress, but just try and, keep yourself calm and keep saying to yourself that you're not the only one. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. That's what I've had to do. Got rid of finances, some things that are going out that don't need to go out. You start to value things a lot more as well. Like, that 20 quid that's going out a month, I don't even need that. Or I'm even thinking about cancelling my car insurance and my tax and leaving the car on the drive, because I'm going to walk everywhere. And then if I do have to push the boat out and get a job somewhere else, I'll just walk to that job. You start to value, well, I've actually got a car for one, which is, you don't value it very high, and you start to value things like that a lot. Oh, I've got a car, I've got car insurance, I'm still paying this, I'm still paying that. And you start to think, well, actually, I was in a pretty good position.
Yeah.
Brings a lot of things that you don't normally think about to light when you're in that situation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like you say, everyone's in the same boat. And that's a great way to think. If you get into a down mentality of, like you say, why me, or why am I getting affected by this so much? We'll think everyone else is exactly the same.
Kind of think that, I mean, I'm like, tell me if, this is only my opinion.
No, speak, mate. Speak.
Your opinion, but I
Speak.
kind of think that this is going to bring society together.
Mm-hmm. I was saying that. Yeah, I was saying that on a phone call this morning that, like I say, with my brother, calling my brother, I think having to walk down the street and having to walk round people and just smile and not communicate, I think it will make people put their phones, and when we're done with this 2 months down the line, everyone will be like, I'm sick of my phone, I'm sick of the internet, I'm sick of social media. Let's go and meet up. Let's go out for a meal. Let's go for a walk. Let's, like you say, I think it will bring everyone a lot closer.
Yeah.
Actual physically, not closer as in, oh my God, the internet's great.
Because obviously with the 21st century, everybody is addicted to their phones anyway, aren't they? And the one thing our society is probably lacking is human connection, real connection.
Yeah.
But that's something that right now has been sort of taken away.
Do you believe in the lack of human connection is what could lead to like your mental disorders, or your being sad, or
definitely
not really mental disorders, so like your kind of the word I'm trying to say,
just like mental health issues or
mental issues, the lack of that human connection?
Oh, definitely, because I don't want to forget what I was going to say, but like we've become addicted to reaching into our pockets, and a like comes up on Facebook, somebody's sent you a message, somebody's done this, somebody's done that, but it's not real. It's like we've become addicted to a device that, although it is somebody on the other end liking it, it's like we're in some virtual reality that's not human, that's not touch, that's not hugging, that's not making eye contact, that's, all the things that make you human. When you sit across from somebody and you're looking them in the eye and you're showing them that you're listening, and you're with them, or you hug them, or that's human. And I feel like relying on this device only breeds not only insecurities and comparisons to other people living their best life. Are we doing the right thing? Do you know what I mean?
The fakeness of Instagram and Facebook, and
definitely. But it also distances us from real people. Yeah. Because you'll see people go out for meals and they're across from their partner, and I don't know whether they looked up in the last 10 minutes because they've been looking at their phone. And to me, that's not real connection. If you go on a date or if you go out with a friend, it should be about you and that friend or that circle of friends, not the world. Do you know what I mean? Not the rest of the world.
You can take a picture of yourselves, all of you on a table, and
and we've all done it. You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with taking a picture of yourself at a meal, but it's like you'll see teenagers and other people, and I'm not being harsh, I'm not being negative, but it's just I'm just saying what I've seen. People are sat with their heads down when the person or the people around them are doing exactly the same. They're not actually communicating with each other. They're just communicating in a virtual reality to other people that, well, why are you sat with your friends if you want to connect with those people? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I feel like going, back to the original question, I feel like humans, when you tell somebody not to do something or tell somebody not to think about something, and this is another thing that links in with mental health, if I said to you, don't think of a pink elephant, what are you going to do?
Pink elephant,
Naturally think of a pink elephant. So if you've took something away from somebody, what do humans naturally want to do? You know what I mean? Like, you took connection away from people by saying you're isolating, you can only go out once a day, you're only with whoever's in your household, that's it. So you've actually taken, you know, this connection away from people. So over this time that we're on our own, that we're in our houses, it's that, you know, we're eager to then go and socialize again.
Yeah,
So
so like what you're saying is you think there's going to be like a flood effect as soon as we are allowed out. People are going to be like, I want to hug people. I want to have connections. I want to go out. I want to have fun. I want to eat a meal without touching my phone. I want to go and
yeah,
socialize without using the phone we've been using for the last 3 months.
yeah,
People crave that. It's
yeah,
like brain stimulation as such. Like,
yeah. I mean, you know, I love my partner Fleur, and I love her family, because that's where we're at. We're all we're lucky in a way because we're all together in a bit of a community. There's a few houses near each other that are, so I've got her dad to speak to, I've got Fleur to speak to, I've got a mum to speak to.
Yeah.
But again, those same 3 people, think of how many people you normally socialise with.
Yeah.
Like, you know, a lot more. So I think this is good for everyone in a way, that it's like taking that away, so it makes you crave that human connection again. So when it's there, we realise what we were missing out on when we were sucked into our phones. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, the natural human brain stimulation as such.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. So that was deep. That was a deep start to the show. So now let's tell all the listeners who you are and what you do. Just a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. So I'm Dan Edwards, and I'm a personal trainer and strength coach, but I'm also the other half of a company called Me, Myself and Mind, my dad being the other half. And yeah, we're a wellbeing company that specialises in mental and physical health, with mainly corporate teams. So, you know, we'll go in and deliver workshops, talks, whether that's fitness sessions, whether that's yoga, whether that's meditation in the workplace or mindfulness. Anything really that is around health and well-being, whether that be having a nutritionist come into the workplace and deliver a talk, or talk about the importance of, you know, getting the right nutrition in to make us feel healthier, make us feel better up here, but also looking after our physical health. So that's what we do, but we also do talks for communities, and, you know, we're starting to do podcasts just like yourself, getting different guests in, and again along the lines of, you know, medical students. We've had a doctor on, a nutritionist. We've had an ex-SAS soldier, so that will be coming out pretty soon. So it's just gaining this YouTube and social media platform to gain different perspectives and to give so much information out there on how we can improve our mental and physical health.
So do you find your company has been well accepted into the corporate industry?
Yeah. Do you know what?
It's its own little bubble. Corporate's really its own little bubble, really, isn't it? Like,
yeah.
Everyone else as such.
I mean, you say the word corporate, and even to me, it fills me with dread. You know what I mean? Even though that's my business, I think the word corporate has got some heavy connotations of what people think corporates are like.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But I feel with Me, Myself and Mind, we're going to change the way that corporate is viewed, and also how people act and conduct themselves in the work environment. I'm not saying we're trying to, you know, change anybody, but we're trying to make it a little bit more of a healthier work environment, because, you know, every business can be fast paced. You know, everyone that we've spoke to within business has had communication problems of some kind. And that then only leads to confusion, people not working together effectively. And then also then that can lead to, you know, negative impact on physical, emotional, you know, mental well-being, because people aren't connecting in the workplace. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Due to obviously it being fast-paced, communication problems.
So that's what I was trying to get at. To like, if you'd been well accepted, because I feel corporate, like you say, fills you with dread. Tell me if I'm wrong, but like, you get the thought of very powerful people all in one room, very good at their jobs, and you get the communication breakdown because they're all very powerful and opinionated.
I mean, I'm not going to say that these people are opinionated or anything like that, because I think to a degree we all are. And I think the way to anybody to, build rapport and, to connect with anybody is to make yourself almost get to their level. Do you know what I mean? And almost make yourself feel vulnerable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because, when I'll talk to a room of 16, 20, 30 people or however many of these corporates, I'm telling them a story and I'm putting myself in their shoes so they can see things from my perspective almost as well. And I'm not pointing the finger. I'm talking about what humans do naturally. Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying, oh, well, the boss says, you know what I mean? I'm not saying you do this and you do that and you do that. It's about putting things out there that we all do, naturally. It's just that, sometimes we're not aware of what we're doing.
Goes back to that human interaction / human behavior that we are now, I think, is getting big in the fitness industry, in any industry really, that people are starting to look like companies like yourself. And when I'm PTing and stuff, you start to look into the human behavior that we've actually lost, which is, it's not like a technique, or it's nothing voodoo or anything like that. It's like, well, no, that's how we're meant to behave, and we've lost that way due to things like this.
Yeah. And then, sometimes what we found, obviously not naming names or naming places within the workplace, is that, like you've just said, people's communication and connection on a human basis has sort of shut down.
Yeah.
They're so wrapped up in their computer and their desk that the boss is sending them emails, that it's not that face-to-face, connection. And we all know how like messages can be construed. Have you ever been sent a message or an email and all of a sudden it's got your back up?
Yeah.
But what that person meant
was completely different to what you thought. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
So I always say to people, don't have an argument or a discussion over text.
Yeah.
Don't, because you don't know how it's going to be taken.
Yeah. And it's, but it's easy to, and that's what I mean about, it's not about pointing fingers, because I've done this just as much as the next.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? And to get on somebody's level and to build that connection with someone, you got to say what you've done. Do you know what I mean? You got to not put yourself down, but I've done it just as much as you have. Do you know what I mean? So I'm not here to tell you you're wrong, you're this, you're that. I'm just saying on a level, this is what we all do. And if we become more aware of it, then we can start to make changes. Do you know what I mean?
Awesome. Like just self-awareness.
Yeah, definitely. And that's another thing. And again, happened to me, always happens to me. It's happened to other people. As soon as you point the finger at somebody, as soon as you say like, you don't do this or you don't do that, your ego will then try and defend you, and it almost brings the shutters down. So your awareness will drop, because if somebody stood there pointing the finger at you, your defenses are going to just go straight up, aren't they?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it's, again, not pointing the finger at somebody, so we can connect, and their awareness, they'll connect the dots in their own head of what they're doing and what they're not doing. Do you know what I mean?
Awesome. So your business, you said, goes into a lot of like mindfulness and meditation.
Yeah.
You mentioned, what's your take on meditation? Well, what is meditation?
Well, meditation, there's many different forms of meditation. So you've got like mindfulness, you've got visualization, you've got focus of breathing, focus of attention. So there's many different forms, but I think for me, what meditation is, it's a place to put my attention to sort of quieten the mind. And once you start to focus your attention and become fully present with a task, all that other noise in your head starts to, it's almost like you've turned the volume down. And really, and that's my take on meditation. I mean, there's so many different, definitions of meditation, and Buddha said this, and he said this, and she said this, and whatever. But I feel like everybody's meditation to them is slightly different. And also the effect of meditation. And we can go into, later on in the discussion, the different effects and my own personal effects and what other people might feel with meditation, if you want to go into that sort of discussion. But I mean, I haven't always been into meditation.
I do it, and it's not, I don't always do it. I do it when I find a lot of noise, find a lot of outside noise, or I'm in my own head and I just don't know what's going on. And like this situation now, when it first started to actually come real, and I actually believed, like, this is real, man. Like, we're getting locked down and people are dying. And I started to just do 5 minutes a day. If I was out on my walk, do it just to try and forget everything. It's just, I want to forget about what's actually going on. And even if it was one of these, someone talking in my ears, and then you slowly drown out from that, I think it was good, because then you start to walk again, or you go on about your task that day, and that little bit of noise is gone. And I feel if I got better at it, because I can't sit still, mate. This is the longest I am ever sitting still doing these podcasts. I cannot sit still. So to get my mind to stop working is just as hard. So how do you feel that meditation would or can help athletes?
Oh, massively. I mean, whether that's just daily meditation to reduce stress and anxiety build up. And obviously athletes on a daily basis are pushing boundaries of their physical capabilities. So that's a sympathetic state, would you say? When you're doing, say, 2 or 3 hours of cheerleading, or say you're doing an interval session, or say you're training balls to the wall, then oftentimes your heart rate is going to be significantly elevated. For long periods of time. And although this, helps us become better at our sport, and it also, gets us in good shape and increases our fitness and our health, it's also placing stress upon the body. And, being in that sympathetic state, so, our heart rate's elevated high, we almost go into fight, flight, or freeze response. That stress over time is doing the same effect to the body as what, stress is when you're in a dangerous situation.
Okay.
Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
I
So
mean,
even though it's a positive, when it's consistent, if not brought back down to a nice level, it can cause slight harm as well as.
Yeah, of course. Like, people go into overtraining, and it's not just about the training session either. It's everything else that day. You know what I mean? Like, you could have an intense session here, and then you go home and there could be an argument here that causes you to go into the sympathetic state and your stress level goes up again. Or you could, something could go wrong that day and it elevates your levels of stress. So meditation, I'd say the one side of it can be implemented by athletes, especially breathing techniques and focus of attention on our breath.
About to say that,
to take us from that sympathetic state to prepare us and get us ready to go into the parasympathetic, which is lowering our heart rate, putting the body in a restful state. Because, being a personal trainer yourself and coach, it's not the work that you do at the time, it's whether you're recovering, you know what I mean, from that work so you can get better.
Yeah.
And if you're constantly in a sympathetic state, elevated up here, how's your body going to recover?
Yeah.
And how are you then going to develop and get better? Not only is that stress going to stay up there and it's not doing your body any good, but for performance or even, you know, muscle size, muscle strength, you're not giving it the recovery that it needs, you know, to then go on to that next training session and the next training session and the next training session.
So you're thinking like, try and take away the whole hippie side of meditation and bring it down to like scientific. That would be good, like post-session, like you keep saying, breathing. So instead of calling it meditation, do some sort of team breathing, or you want to take it on yourself, do some breathing, which brings your heart rate back down instead of just stretch off and get out of the gym.
Yeah, definitely. Like that's the thing, and it can even be done while stretching, and then you could even almost argue that that's a form of yoga.
Just using a hat to try and hide my my haircut that needs doing.
It's that isolation haircut.
Yeah, but I'm gonna go full like savage. What's it called? Like feral.
So when I see you in the gym in a few months, I'm not even gonna know who you are.
No, I'll shave them when I leave the house properly to actually go and do some work. I'm like, I'll just be grey, mate. I'll be grey all over. So my grey starts to come through. Look.
You're gonna have a football named Wilson, like Castaway.
Oh, the kids won't know that movie, mate.
No, right.
Watch this about what's movie that. So like, yeah. So putting breathing with some yoga, so it's not even. It's like what I find
it's classified as yoga. Do you know what I mean? It's just if it, you know, because I presume you will stretch off after a session.
Yeah.
So that's a great time to take yourself when you're stretching to focus on what muscle groups you're meant to be stretching, to feel the stretch, and then to also focus your attention on slowing down the breath. You know, breathing nice and deep and nice and slow.
Telling the body to relax.
Yeah. So it's just that focus of attention on breath work. And, you know, it could be, you know, once you've all stretched off, you could all sit down or lie down on the floor and the coach could talk them through a breathing exercise.
Yeah. So I've done a lot of not breathing because I was about to go on to that, how you get it into people taking it seriously. But what we started doing at the end of a session was we'd get the whole team to lie down and just turn the lights off. Yeah, you get the odd few, this is funny, giggle, giggle, giggle. But you get some who will still carry on stretching. And then you ask them what they feel like. Once you turn the lights back on and they leave, because we don't finish training till 10 o'clock at night. And I just couldn't do my job outside of cheer coaching as well. I feel like I have not every coach has a duty of care, but knowing what I know about cooling down, about trying to get your blood levels back down before you just go and sit in a car or you drive home 10 o'clock at night. That was the one thing I felt was easy. Just quickly lie them down, turn the lights off to bring them down.
Absolutely.
How have you found going into corporate, which to me is a bit like throwing what I'm trying to throw this kind of stuff into cheerleading because it's new. How have you found like to get them to not find it funny as such? Because obviously I find humans have a lot of things that are new. They just find it funny.
Yeah.
Even adults.
Just before we go on to that, just what you said there I just want to say that's amazing. You know, the whole turning the lights off.
Yeah.
Just because, just thinking about it now, I mean, I'm not sure what age group is it that you coach?
You go 14 to, I think the oldest can be old, but like 25. So 14 to 25.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's probably not going to be that many people giggling just because the lights went out, because it's not like they're little children. It's, you know, you know, teenagers and so on. But and when you said to me then you train till 10 o'clock an evening, and I presume that it's, you know, it can be quite intense, can it?
Oh, flat out for 3 hours, mate. As soon as we're in that gym, it's go time.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. It's so important to bring ourselves back into the parasympathetic after training, especially if you're finishing at 10, because we all know that the biggest detriment to our health, mental health, and also recovery is sleep. So if you imagine you've just gone from balls to the wall to now it's 10 o'clock, I need to go to bed, and you haven't brought yourself down, well, your sleep's going to be impaired.
Yeah.
So then again, that leads to the recovery process being impaired, because everybody's got to get up for work the next day. They've got to get up to go to school or college or university. And if you're getting up at 7, 8 in the morning and you haven't had, a full 7.5, 8, 9 hours sleep, then that's going to have a massive impact on how your body's recovered and ready to go for the next training session. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I just want to say that turning the lights off, is a great thing that you're doing there, because you're shutting down the stimulus from the light. You're then going to produce more melatonin, which naturally for the body puts us into that restful state. And then adding those breathing exercises in, you're really bringing them down and getting them settled so that when they go home, they can go to bed. So
Awesome. So on that end of it, so like post training, what would you say for like nerves? So pre-comp or pre-going for a performance, when you start to get that fight or flight you talked about kicking in.
Yeah.
Would you use the same sort of techniques? Or is it more of a have to really center the mind to get rid of that fear stage?
Well, the thing is, there's nothing wrong. Do you mean performance nerves on the lead up to competition, or say competition day?
Oof. Competition day.
Competition day.
Yeah.
So
just start to go on. You can hear the music, crowd's going, your team's ready. You got 3 minutes till you're on. Everyone's silent normally at this point.
Yeah.
Everyone starts to get nervous.
I'd say, okay, so should we go over competition day and then maybe the lead up after we've talked about competition? Yeah. I'd say like just before you're about to go on, that's go time anyway, isn't it? So if you're anxious, there's a certain level of anxiety and performance anxiety that we've got to feel to get us in the zone. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say that feeling those nerves and butterflies or, is such a bad thing unless it's overly out there that you can't breathe. Do you know what I mean? And if it is at that end of the spectrum, there's more work that needs to be done on the lead up. And that's also a time where we can start to control the breath. Breathe in for 4 seconds, hold for 5, out for 6, or in for 3, hold for 4, out for 5.
So now we're going from the lowering of the blood pressure, the cooling down, getting the oxygen in, like the breaths are making the heart slow down. What on the other end, is it the same thing? Is it the breaths?
It's just a focus of attention, isn't it? Like, again, you're having like we're saying, that before you go on, you're going to be nervous. And if you're peaking too much that you're too nervous, you're going to need to maybe bring yourself down slightly. But I'd also say that could be a good time to start talking to yourself and putting in some positive self-talk, standing in a confident way. This isn't meditation, but this is, putting your body in a ready state that's not fearful. It's not too anxious.
Yeah, not closing up,
No. One thing that I always do before I do a talk or do anything is I'll spend a few minutes in the toilet, looking at myself in a mirror, and I'll pull my shoulders back, stick my chest up, and I'll tell myself positive phrases over and over again of what I am. I am confident. I am going to do this. I am this. I am that. I am strong. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because the body leads the mind. And oftentimes, people's posture often is a replica often replicates their mood.
Yeah.
So if you change your posture straight away and look at yourself in the mirror and look into your eyes, and you start to tell yourself what you are, what you're going to do, this, you soon start to believe it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So you put yourself in that. Bit like when people are talking to you and they G you up and you get relaxed and you get ready for it. You're just doing it yourself.
Yeah, definitely. Because your favorite person can't always be there. That's what my dad always used to say to me, that when I used to play sport when I was younger, he'd say, like, tell yourself, well done, Daniel, or you're this, you're that. He says, because I'm not always going to be there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I love
He
that.
says, and if I'm not there, I want you to be able to tell yourself it's going to be okay, or you're going to do this, or get yourself prepared. But yeah, so on obviously competition day, that's what I'd advise doing right before you're about to go out. But I'd say on the lead up to competition, like, maybe a month out or even a week out, a visualization technique. So a meditation, but visualizing what performance outcome you want.
So a lot of teams do that, but this is good. This is, so people who are watching, listening. A lot of teams do it, but it's normally on comp day. That's it. So normally, like, before you go on, you'll have your music on your own boombox. You'll all be laid down, holding hands, eyes closed, and go through your routine and visualize it hitting.
Yeah.
But I've not known of many teams that will do that. A lot of practices running up to that. It's just something that's been brought in, that you've noticed people doing it on comp day.
Yeah. So I'd probably suggest that, well, I don't know. Do they all do it together or individually on their own?
We'd all do it as like a team. Lie down, hold hands, music in the middle, music's on, and just go through the routine and visualize everything being perfect. Why
couldn't that be implemented, every other session or weekly?
Part of practice.
Part of practice, because mental practice is now being shown just as effective as physical practice. Studies are suggesting that when we think about performing a skill, or when we think about doing something, the brain and the body doesn't know the difference between our imagination and the reality. It's the same parts of the brain that's lighting up when we're imagining doing something to actually doing it.
Yeah.
So if you think about it, the more you practice a skill, the better you get. So imagine at any time of the day, anywhere you are, you can think about performing a skill. You don't even have to be sweaty. You don't even have to be in the arena. You can focus on exactly what you're going to do, how you're going to do it, and you don't even have to get out your chair. Do you know what I mean?
So like individual athletes could think about their own routine on their own.
Yeah.
But then also you think a good practice would be 3 weeks running up to comp, at least once or twice in that session.
Yeah.
Mentally going through it.
Yeah, definitely. All together, definitely. Yeah. And maybe, this is for the group one, the coach would almost guide them through it. What can you smell? What can you see? What can you hear? As you're walking out to the arena, or, because the more real we make an image or a video in the mind, that's when our imagination starts to become reality. Do you know what I mean? Because we've convinced ourselves that this is real. So if you're just sat there and as a coach and just say, oh, well, imagine it's comp day, what are you going to do? You almost need like a script that's going to really get into the minds of the athlete and to get them to create their own picture within their mind, so that their neurons in the brain are firing off and wiring to exactly what they want to do, because they're almost seeing it before it's happened. Creating that,
I don't know, like if I had my ears closed and someone was explaining to me what comp day was like, my heart rate would naturally elevate. So it's like basically conditioning yourself. So when your heart rate does elevate on comp day, you're like, oh, cool, I know how to deal with this type thing. You know exactly how it's going to feel. Not that it's like foreign and it appears like, oh.
Because as soon as you know, a lot of people with performance anxiety, I mean, we've all had it. Well, when I've done talk before, I feel my heart rate's coming through my throat. Do you know what I mean?
I suffered with it in cheerleading for 6 years. 6 years, every day, every comp day, I would say I ain't doing this again. I'd compete. Sometimes I messed up. Sometimes I messed up because it got so much for me that I didn't defeat it, and it defeated me. And I'd have brain farts and fogs, and I'd get lost, or I'd get that nervous that I wouldn't trust I was going to actually be as good as I was. So I'd do something wrong. And it took me to obviously taking the steps to put myself under pressure on bigger teams, like such as for the country and whatever, when I went to America and Coventry, putting me under pressure. And then it was like, well, you either have to stop doing this or get over it and learn to deal with it. And you say you've suffered with it, and I suffered with it for years and years. So like, I know what people are feeling and what they're going through when they tell me they're getting that. And it's only natural, but this, I feel what you've said here would be great, because we've started to put it into the sport where the first team that did it was a bit like, I don't know if you, so with cheerleading, it's still very new to the world. So when you bring something new in, it's laughed at, or it's very, what are you doing? Or we can't do that. No. So the first team to do the visualization. So I live by the airport. There's a helicopter coming in nice and low. I don't know if you can hear it.
Yeah, I can hear it.
Where was I going with that? What was I saying?
You're saying that it's almost laughed at to begin with.
Oh yeah. So when the first team did that, it was like, oh, okay. And then the next team did it, and the next team did it, and the next big team did it. So then everyone does it. I feel like this probably would be a great time now, and I bet you off the back of this will probably start to happen when the season starts again. I think visualization should happen, like you say, twice a session, 3-4 weeks running up to a competition. And I think just that feeling, I know what that feeling's like a week, 2 weeks before comp. I think that probably would help. Definitely.
I mean, there's so many ways you can make it different. But, you know, talking about reducing performance anxiety, if you can think about this situation over and over again before the lead up to competition, when you're in it, you have convinced the mind that you know how to deal with it, and you don't start thinking erratically. You don't start to shut down because you've gone into fight, flight, or freeze mode. You don't freeze. You know the exact routine because the neurons have been connected in the head of what you're doing, where your body is, how you move here, how you move there. And that little, you know, adjustment in your heart rate, just because it's gone up, isn't going to affect you anymore. Do you know what I mean?
Because you practice. It's like practicing for body conditioning. Like you condition, like I say, you could be fit, but then you have to condition routine fit. It's the same sort of thing. You're conditioning your body to be ready for this fear that's going to kick in. Even when people say they're not scared, they're still getting an elevated heart rate, and they're still getting nervous. They've learned, conditioned themselves to deal with it.
I think as more and more people talk about it, again, it's just like anything. Humans, we like to be led, don't we? And we almost, if something's not within our belief system, something that we've not heard before, you automatically go, oh yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, you don't believe it. But now that there's so many studies, or, you know, the science is stating what it does, I think a lot more people are going to be on it. And, you know, Conor McGregor's spoken about visualization. There's a freestyle skier, Emily Cook, and she said she spends hours visualizing even how her body's going to feel in the air when she's rotating. You know, Michael Phelps states that on the lead up to competition, he visualized for hours outside the pool. what the sounds would be like, what it'd feel like, what he's gonna see, what, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't know whether you watched what was that film called with Alex Honnold, the freestyle climber,
Oh,
free climber.
yeah. When he, on his own with no ropes and all that stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
he used visualization. So he visualized, not only was he doing the climb with ropes, but after that, he would use a visualization practice so that he knew exactly where he was going to put his arms, his legs. And he said that he even visualized what would happen if he fell. I think I recall him saying, if something slipped, because I mean,
So he was ready for it.
yeah, I'm only guessing here, but if you've wired up the brain to know every possible outcome of every hold, then if that hold slips, then you've automatically going to reach for another hold.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
his situation is life or death.
Yeah.
So I think he was taking that pretty seriously on the visualization front.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's great that so many athletes and so many people are speaking about visualization, and it'll soon trickle down.
Yeah, I think it's getting bigger, and I think meditation is following the whole health and fitness industry, to being a healthy thing, not a hippie thing anymore. Which obviously it was always, oh, that's a bit hippie. That's only what hippies do.
Yeah.
Oh, you're a tree hugger. I got big into it when I was alone and I was on my own in America, and I did it more for my own self and mind because I was very, very lonely at times. And I found it helped me so much. When I came back, I started talking about it, and I got the same reaction, even though people know I'm not that hippie and stuff. Oh, you're a hippie? You're a tree hugger?
Yeah.
So I'm happy that it is following the health and fitness industry, because I think, like you say, it will come more into sports, and then it will become natural for everyone to do it. Because I think, I believe it's something that everyone should do, because going back to right at the beginning of this podcast, we all need to be back self-centered with our own human interactions and our own human behavior. And I feel meditation, any form of meditation, just like you say, being self-aware, brings us back into connection with that human behavior.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's, and like I said, I think it's the studies and the science that's backing it is what's turning people's heads. Do you know what I mean? I think if the science wasn't there, we'd still be banging our head up a brick wall.
Yeah.
Because everybody is so fascinated with science. And I'm not, obviously.
It's not the way it feels, man, because it feels good when you've done it.
Yeah, but if you had no study or no, top dog saying this is what it does because of this, this, and this, and because your cortisol will decrease, and because this and this, because they're saying it, now people believe it. But I think sometimes as well, we've got to open our eyes as humans, and if it feels good and it feels right for you, then do it.
Believe in it. Yeah, believe in it. Yeah.
Because I'd say, like, Bruce Lipton is I think he's a scientist in America. He's done, I think it was studies, and he's done a seminar on the biology of belief, and it's even about like the placebo effect. How people get better from a drug they wasn't even given.
Yeah.
And that's because they believed in it. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah, and that all goes to visualize the visual. I'm really struggling with that word today. Visualization. It goes back to that visualize. Oh, I'm giving up with that word. That you believe in.
Or now.
Believing that you're going to be good at what you're about to do is a placebo. The same sort of effect, and it all goes back to the power of the mind, right?
Yeah, definitely. And it's the mind leads the body leads the mind. They're interlinked. You can never separate the two. So if you're doing the things for the body that then help the mind, then why not do the things with the mind that then help the body for your performance? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But no, it's I feel like we're in an amazing time, because I can guarantee, you know, all those yogis or people that have been into meditation for like fucking 40 years are going to be fuming because what they've been banging on about for so long. Now people are like, oh, now I meditate. And I bet they were like,
you got dudes like me in Hawaiian shirts and snapbacks saying, yeah, I love meditation.
yeah.
Or like corporate people, like with you, pushed it into corporate. You got people in suits being corporate, and they're like, oh, I'm going to go sit in my car and do 10 minutes meditation. They're going to be like, I've been telling you that for years.
Yeah. And it's just, it is what it is. And we can only be grateful that the time that we're in with the information that we're given. Do you know what I mean? It's, the information's there. We can all use it. And it's not just a bogus hippie thing. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with being a hippie. Like, I love some hippie shit. Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, definitely. But I just feel like, don't you think, like, that's not me slating hip when I say people, that's my opinion, what people say. I feel like that's where it was attached to, because that's where it came from. And like you say, as society, that's not normal. So it was shushed and it was pushed down. And it was pushed down for so long that it was only that certain group of people, or like your people out in the mountains and all that type thing, that would practice mindfulness and all that stuff. It was away from the cities and all the big environments. It was, oh, shut up. Your hippies, your voodoo, or your whatever. Whereas now it's finally, like I say, it's finally coming in and everyone can do it.
But the thing is as well, bringing it back to the very beginning, and you know how we said that society has almost been slowed down and stopped in its tracks because we're not really working. Well, a lot of us aren't working. We're stuck at home. You know, we can't really do much. But what can we do is be mindful. Yeah. And who'd have thought that, you know, mindfulness is being aware of the present moment, you know, aware of your surroundings, aware of how you feel, aware of what's going on. But 21st century life takes us out of that constantly, because we're constantly stressed out with work, we're constantly rushing here, we're constantly doing that, we're constantly doing this. So who'd have thought that it'd have had to have took a pandemic intervention to almost bring us back to the reality of being mindful? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
it is scary, but like you say, like we said at the beginning, we're hoping, fingers crossed, that all lost isn't in humanity, and that we will take positives from everyone will take positives from this, and we'll move forward being more mindful in the future. So on that note, Dan said his company was Me, Myself and Mind.
Me, Myself and Mind,
I get lost sometimes. I'm like Me, Myself and Irene, Me, Myself and Mind. I'm like, where can people find you, bro?
Well, if you're on Instagram, it's at Me, Myself, Mind. If you are, you know, wanting to find us on, you know, if you want our website, it's www.memyselfmind.com. On Facebook, you'll find us as at Me, Myself and Mind. And on YouTube, again, Me, Myself and Mind. And we've just recently today got onto Apple Podcasts. So if you type in Me, Myself and Mind, you'll find us. Our two podcasts are up there, with a nutritionist and a medical student talking about sleep. And there should be more uploaded in the next few months, because obviously we have all of our current videos on YouTube, but it's trying to get them then over to Apple Podcasts.
Yeah. Love that. I'll get all the links off you anyway, and I'll put all those in the bottom so people can just click and go straight to everything from the YouTube video.
Yeah.
Also follow Dan at Dan Edwards Fitness.
At Dan Edwards _fitness,
It's always an underscore. Underscore fitness.
There's always fitness or underscore or just.
He's putting out good content. Always active on the socials, so definitely make sure you follow Dan, please, guys. Follow his podcast, but don't like switch over and leave mine. Good. Thanks for coming on then, Dan. Definitely get you on again. Guys, please go check him out on all social medias, on all his social platforms. Peace, Dan. See you later, dude.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, man.
Cause we know we fit like puzzle pieces, like puzzle pieces, puzzle pieces.